Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and after a week off, I thought you'd appreciate me getting straight on with the supermarket, part 4. Well, I'm full of energy and raring to go on the next section of this after my week off. Very relaxing with Mrs. Hood. I thought I'd take her away for a romantic break over Valentine's Day because she very much deserves it. Not least for putting up with me all the time. So anyway, so today I figured we'd do the large checkout that's going to go about here in front of these shelves that will be behind the checkout worker. Underneath this sign, of course. And then I thought I'd do another 2 self-checkout machines kind of against what will be the outside wall going along here. But before I do all of that, I thought I'd do some amendments. I was considering doing all the amendments that you sort of send through basically all at the end, but there were some that I was just raring to get going on before we got any further. So without further ado, you might be able to see I've actually added a few modified bricks up here. Actually, all the ones I've got in my collection in white, actually. And they were to add a few more tiles, just to give a bit of colour to this, well, rather large white section around the top. Now, when the lid is on this modular and it's sort of got all the other stories above it, you won't see these at all. But that hasn't stopped me adding absolutely loads of detail everywhere else, in corners and in cabinets and so on. So I may as well continue where I left off. So one I'm going to add is this wonderful lemon soft drinks 2x2 tile. It's a bit damaged in this corner, but hey, that actually fits my scene quite well. So if you're interested, that's from the 8154 Brick Street Customs set, which is a tiny turbo set from quite a way back now. So I just thought that one would go into that space there. And 2 bigger ones along here could be a fresh seafood sign, just advertising seafood, obviously, which has come from the Shrimp Shack Attack. That's quite hard to say quickly. Try and say that 5 times. That's the Hidden Side 70422 set. And then another one to go near that would be City Pizza up here. And that's from the 60150 Pizza Van. So that looks pretty good as well. And I think that is a good improvement. It's brightened up this whole area quite a great deal. And that one could be advertising the frozen pizzas I've got in that cabinet over there. So yes, that looks a lot more busy. I like it a lot. Now another one I thought was very clever indeed, which was just to sort of improve my... Oh, I better give a bedoing to that, hadn't I? That was for the signs there. Yes, another one was just to improve my toy section, because I realised that when I put all my toys in, they were all exactly the same sort of height, so they kind of blended into each other. And somebody very cleverly suggested I swap the 2x2 on the back for a 1x2 and a 1x2 modified, which I've only got one in grey, but you won't see it when it's in position, just to raise one of them up a little bit in the middle. So if I can get my big hands into that space to put this back, then it will mean when it goes back in, that central toy is slightly higher than its neighbours and looks a bit more realistic. So I really like that. Very simple, but very effective. So here's your bedoing. Then another one was to change my newspaper rack, because a lot of people said that, well, I needed comics, because that's what they always remember going to their corner store for. And that's what we're trying to sort of represent here. So why not remove, say, the newspapers, which I can use in another build somewhere else one day, from the bottom shelf, to replace them with maybe a Starfarer comic there. And I thought I'd make another one using one of my many video tiles, which I've got a whole bag of now. And just to make that 3D, I'm going to add a 2x2 jumper plate, just because I didn't have a 2x2 plate in the right colour. And maybe I'd use this one. I thought that looked quite like a comic with a great big sort of dinosaur smashing through buildings in the city, kind of Godzilla style. So that looks very good. And that adds even more colour to the whole setup. So it's not just boring old newspapers, but some comics as well. So that is a very good idea. Like that. And then the last one that I was dying to get done, that was very easy, was on the back door. Now there are some other suggestions that I might incorporate in due course, like maybe adding some more windows in here to let in light to the storeroom, or hinge this stairway. But I figure I'll be better off kind of knowing where I'm going to put this building before I start doing modifications on this external wall, or know what I'm doing on upper floors before I do anything with this section first. But this one was just to change the colour of the door from brown to green, so it matched the colour scheme of my supermarket, because the branding I'm going for is very much inspired by the torsos of the employees and the trousers as well. So we've basically got green, lime, and this sort of dark pink colour, which we've already got in here. So obviously a green door suits it very well compared with a brown one. So I've managed to liberate that from something else to include it here, and I'll replace the original in due course. But yeah, that looks really good as well. So thanks for all your early suggestions, and I look forward to getting loads more, to amend what we're doing today. Right, so next is to get on with that large checkout area. Now, I did have a few comments about making my supermarket, which is very mini at the moment, much bigger, perhaps to cover 2 base plates or something like that. And heaven knows I've probably got enough produce in that bag of stuff that we looked at last time to fill a much bigger supermarket. But I don't know, I'd rather have it a lot more small in the interests of one of my design rules, which is diversity, so we can have, another building, another store and another theme going on somewhere else instead. So I'm going to stick to this very small footprint. Now, a mini market this size could probably get away with just having, say, 2 mini self-checkouts where you beep through all your own produce, but I thought it was much more iconic to have the much bigger checkout unit where one of these ladies will help you, and will, with the conveyor and all the rest of it, that is more prevalent and more familiar to most of us from a much bigger place. And where I'm going to put that is over here, pretty much all the way up to there, so it's going to be quite big. Now, the bad side of that is it's going to block some of the detail that we've put in there, but then that is true to life. It'll also kind of go right in front of this staff door, so we won't have customers sort of wandering into that. But what is going to be very difficult is if I try and build it in place here, because, it's very kind of dominated by the wall and so on. So just for convenience, I'm going to build it on this spare brown plate with these 2 1x4s representing the studs that I'm going to be attaching it to, these 4 and these 4. With the rest of the area filled in tiles. So yeah, that'll be a lot easier for me to show you what I'm doing. Yes, so you'll just have to imagine this whole thing is covered in tiles for the time being, just so when we're doing our build, which is largely studs on the side technique, just so it can end up with a good finish, that it will be kind of flush to the floor, but I'm not going to transfer all those tiles just to move them all back in a moment. So the ground level of it is kind of a foundation. It's going to hold it all together, so the tiles will go in that gap there. And this is just sort of plates and bricks. And there's one with a stud on the side there, just so we can add some detail onto the exterior later. I'm going to hold all of that together with this 1x12 plate. So that's kind of our footprint for the big checkout. And the gap in the middle is obviously where the lady is going to be standing at the back and passing things over. So the first bit is to use these Technic kind of connectors, which are kind of cylinders really, and I'm going to use them so the little slot that would kind of spoil the look of our checkout is facing down, and they are kind of rollers really, I suppose, for the goods that you're going to be adding at this end before they get checked out and bagged up at this end, but they're to really represent the conveyor belt that would be there in real life. So they're coming in there and then they're going over the area with the employee, and then there's a little bit more of that there, and then I'm just going to make a sort of squared off bit with bricks here, and that's just so I can add some more modified bricks to add some more details on later. You could just add 2 more of the rollers, of course. This was a technique that Lego Paradise used that I liked very much. So there we are, there's some modified bricks in there, and that again will enable us to add some detail later. So that is our main bit of kind of conveyor. Then on the front I can add a 1x6 plate, or rather 2x6 plate, a 1x3 plate and a 2x3 plate, kind of like that, to kind of box some of it in. And then I can add this 2x4 or 1x4x2 get it right, panel, which is kind of the bit where she's doing the boop, a bit with all your products. So that is there. So that is the conveyor, and that looks all right so far. Then we can add a bit more detail, being this, the kind of area that you kind of put your, I don't know, wallet on or credit card on while you're kind of waiting, and a little one of those as a little kind of stem for a screen to be attached. And then just to give it all some strength, I'm going to be adding some 1x4 tiles and some 1x3s around the corner. And I'm doing these in the colour scheme of our supermarkets. You remember our employees, they've kind of got this white torso and green legs, so that's to fit with that. And when we get to the outside of the building, we'll be adding the lime and pink stripes as well. Oh, like that. So there we go. And that's why I've done the whole thing bricks on the side, really, because I want to have that very neat sort of edge. And then for this side, I'm using 1x3 tiles just to connect on there to continue that stripe around the edge. But I think you'll agree that that looks pretty nice. So it doesn't have any on this end, but that's the end that you go up to put your products on. So I'm not so worried about that. So that's the basic bit. Then we need to add a lot more details. So on this end, where you kind of put your stuff on, we've got a bit more space. So I can go back with some jumper plates. And well, everyone knows what they always put on this section, and that's kind of all the chocolate and things like that to tempt you. So I thought I'd just use a hinged brick like this just to add some stuff on. So I'm going to have kind of a shelf with a 1x2 panel and a plate just to level it off. And on the first one, I thought I'd add a jumper plate in brown and then a chocolate bar on top of the jumper plate. So it looks like there's more than one. See, there's that slight stagger there. I think that looks good. And then next to that, just thought I'd put something different. So I've just got this, which could be a greetings card or something like that. It's got a tree on and says happy and a rainbow. If you're interested, that is from one of those troll sets. I got it on Lego Bricks and Pieces, set 41251, Pippi's Pod or Poppy's Pod, something like that, can't remember. But I'll put that on there. So it's sort of overhanging a bit, but they kind of do, don't they? So your products will go underneath there. So I like that. Then on this side, I can add some more tiles just to make it look nice and neat. But also I'll add one of these modified tiles. So I can put on this little tile here, which has got your running total of the money you're spending as things get bit through. It's always much more than you'd think. So that looks really nice as well. Very good. And then on the near side for the employee themselves, I'm going to be using this kind of sign, which is, well, it's a supermarket checkout really. So she's got all the buttons there for picking the sort of loose goods and things like that. And that is from the Heart Lake Food Market set, 41108, and that's from 2015. But that is a really nice sticker, and I've got a few more of those that we can use on our self-checkouts as well. So that's going to be completely invisible to us, but very visible to the employee themselves. But that can go on there. So they'll be standing kind of about here, and they could be beeping through, say, an apple at the that exact moment. So I'll put that in her hand. So she's kind of there. And I think that looks about right. Now I do want to add a basket on the end, and that's why I've added these two kind of studs into the build, so I can add a basket firmly attached, because there will be some loose items. When we're moving this building around, things will move, because if I put products on here, like this wonderful sticky bun that somebody sent me recently on a haul, then, well, it's going to fall off, but so be it. So I thought I'd have that in there, and maybe one product like this orange juice already in the basket, and then we could have somebody receiving all these goods at the right side with their shopping list in hand. And if you're interested in that tile, that's from the 41118 Heart Lake Supermarket set, and that's very appropriate if you ask me. So there is my checkout. And all I need to do now is probably swap out one of these hairs, because they're exactly the same, I've just realised, and then put it into our build and see how it looks there. Right, well, it's already looking a lot better, not attached to that brown plate. and the colour scheme is absolutely fantastic. And of course you can make this a lot bigger and even include a proper conveyor belt in there or something like that, or continue this colouring around the edge. But I've made mine the absolute perfect size for where it's going. So when I push it down on that side and that side onto its studs, you can see, well, the edge is right up against this newspaper stand on the left hand side. And wow, doesn't it look absolutely great? That looks really nice. I mean, we're already concealing, unfortunately, some of the detail that I put in last time on this set of shelves here, and some more is even hidden by this rack with a card and chocolate on, and in turn it's being partially concealed by the newspaper rack on this side. But it is super packed and stacked the way I like it, so that's very good. And that packed and stackness is going to get even worse when we try and put our employee on the jumper plates that are built into the floor. If I can manage to do that, our hand's slightly in the way. There we go. So she's weighing an apple. And that looks really good. Yeah, so we really can't even see the bottles that well now. But I can put the sticky bun on there, and I can put the lady with the list right at the end next to her basket. She's really going to have to hold that in the air, I think, if she's going to stand there. Maybe I'll move that jumper plate somewhere else. Oh no, that works rather well. So yeah, that's a really nice scene over there, I think. And the colour scheme for the store is really starting to creep in. That'll get a lot more prevalent when we've got the outside walls on. But yeah, wow, how busy is that scene? Well, it's about to get more busy because we're going to have shelves all around here for the normal goods. But I think today I'm going to build the 2 self-checkouts because, well, I'm in checkout mood. Let's get going with those next. Well, I don't need a base to build these self-checkout units on because I can just use the 2x4 brick that I'm using as a base to continue that green stripe of the colour scheme of our branded supermarket. And this I've tried to, again, make as absolutely small as possible, just like I have my newspaper rack and the other checkout desk and the fridge freezers and all the rest of it, just so I can kind of get the essence of what we're trying to show in Lego form, but without it taking up too much space. I'm sure you could do kind of a better job or a more realistic job by making everything bigger, but as I say, I'd rather have a bit of everything and really squeeze it in than do a sort of true to life job. Anyway, the first layer I'm going to add to this is just some white plates, and this will add a bit more sort of texture to the whole build. Maybe that little groove is something significant, and that little bit is maybe that's where the coin change pops out if you get it. Then the next layer can be where you weigh something and move them into your bagging area. Unexpected item in bagging area. Then I thought I'd add a 1x2 Technic brick with a half pin in it, and that can be the kind of scanner bit, I suppose, that you run something along. Boop! To check it out, and then a 1x2 modified brick there, a panel piece just to kind of square it all off, and then to give it a bit of strength, holding 2 halves together, I'm just going to put some cheese wedge pieces, 1x1 and 1x2 there. Then you need, well, a coloured light to say that everything's okay. So I've just got a 1x1 plate and tile on top of each other, so everything's going very well at this checkout here, no problem in bagging area. Then what we really need next is the screen, and as I said before, I want to use the same sort of checkout sticker because I thought it's absolutely perfect that we used before from the Heart Lake Food Market 41108, just because it's got all the different buttons on that you'd expect to have, and the payment options and all the rest of it. Now the problem is that that is on a signpost piece, so that's not going to connect with this. I'm sure I could modify it so it would work, but I thought it'd be a lot easier just to transfer that sticker onto a 2x2 tile that's white using my patented hot tea technique. And then I'd be able to place the 2x2 white tile with that sticker on there. So I'll do that in a moment because I'm going to have 2 of these as well. So I have actually got 2 of these stickers. And the other one will be right next to it because there's usually more than one of these things. And I thought for just the variation that I need, I'd have a different light on here. So this one I just thought I'd have a red light on, so there is a problem in the bagging area. And maybe we could have the second employee trying to work out what on earth's going wrong with this machine. I was actually toying with the idea of giving her a hammer to sort of represent the frustration that everyone feels when these machines don't work. Anyway, I'll go ahead and transfer those stickers and then we can put them into the rest of the build. But yeah, nice and compact. I like it. Right, so there's my two 2x2 tiles with the stickers transferred onto them, and they're looking very good indeed. So I can put those onto my self-checkout desks, and they're looking really nice as well. Get it the right way around. There we go. Very nice. And I'm just going to mount those onto some 2x4 plates just so they're kind of above that plate layer rather than kind of buried into it, the tile layer rather. And they can go along this edge because that will be right up against the outside wall there, which will be sort of windows and so on. There'll be some produce on the outside, I think. So you're starting to get an idea for the footprint of the store. In the middle will be all shelving, of course. And then we can have a bakery unit over here. So yeah, that's looking really nice. And then just to put that idea of the machine breaking down and maybe one of the frustrated employees wanting to persuade the machine to work using a hammer, I thought I'd just add her next to the one where there is a problem in the bagging area. Maybe if you give it a sharp jolt in the right way, it fixes it. Who knows? But that's quite a funny scene that we just thought of. So yeah, I like that too. So what a wonderful array of detail around these checkouts. It looks really colourful, really interesting, and absolutely everything, including all of your suggestions, are completely concealed by the details. So we've got the comics down here that are concealed by our new additions here. We've got the stock room, which was already concealed, being concealed by the shelves, which is concealed by the new stuff here, including the checkout, which is in turn concealed by the newspapers hanging off the edge. And even the toy section's concealed now by this lady and her list. But isn't it very fun indeed, and so much detail wherever you look? I really, really like it. Cool. Well, the more details I add, the harder it is to kind of get everything in one shot, but that problem will only get worse when we start adding things that face inwards to the store from the other direction as well. But I think you'll agree the progress we're making is really great, and the detail is just getting to crazy proportions, especially due to all the additions you've given, like these signs, the comics, the toy change, and the back door that we can't see right now anyway. But yeah, it's just going to get more and more busy as we go. And I think this funny scene of the second employee with a hammer trying to fix the problem in bagging area is just right up my street. Right, my type of humour. So I very much like that as well. But yeah, we'll get there eventually, I'm sure. Very nice. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. Do also remember to send in any suggestions, like other people did, to make this build even better. They are also appreciated. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, it'll be a Wednesday, so we'll be doing a brick haul, probably a package from bricklink.com. And then on Friday, well, we'll be doing another mock build, or, well, maybe we could do another part of this, or maybe do this next Monday. Anyway, whatever we get up to, I'm sure we'll have great fun. So until then, see you!